Welcome to The Trade. Before we get to the charts, let's take a look at what traders are watching. The US military has seized an Iranian cargo ship that tried to run its blockade in the Strait of Hormuz, while Iran said it would not participate in a second round of peace talks. This after Iran lifted and then reimposed its own blockade of the Strait, I should say. Now, Wall Street, the S&P 500 and NASDAQ set their third straight record closes, while the small cap Russell 2000 also posted a record closing high. And for the week, the S&P gained 4.5%. The NASDAQ was up 6.8% and the Dow climbed more than 3%. Let's now join Mandi Rafsanjani from Trading Psychology to explain why traders struggle with consistency and what elite sport can teach about performance under pressure. So, Mandi, welcome back. Good to catch up with you. And in fact, you're going to take a leaf out of the playbook of Rory McIlroy from the US Masters Open. Why are you looking at golf as an example here?
Absolutely. Isn't it so inspiring? You see, Andrew, golf is so similar to trading. Like, we can, I don't know if you have played golf. I used to play golf. We can blame everyone and everything else, get new clubs, go to a different course. But in the end, it's just ourselves that we have to look in the mirror. And trading is exactly the same. You get to the point when we are like, yeah, it's us. We have to look at ourselves and not at the trading strategy or the markets to find out why we are not performing at the levels that we are able to. And I mean, how inspiring is Rory? Because Rory used to have his ups and downs, like most traders. They even called him the Rory coaster. And now he has a level of consistency that every trader dreams about. And the winning the Augusta Masters back to back has only been achieved by 4 golfers in the whole history of golf. It was Jack Nicklaus, Tiger Woods, the third one I forgot, and Rory. Amazing.
All right, so it's that struggling for that level of consistency. Why is that also the case then for traders?
Yeah, so I have this trader so every end of the month I do a performance review with my traders. And this trader, he said at the end of last month, oh my God, I had the best quarter of my whole trading career. And he was so excited. He's like, finally, I can see myself being a full-time trader, creating a lifestyle for my family. And he was just like, he felt really good about it. And I already thought, because what does the market do? Likes to humble us, doesn't it? So that's exactly what happened. A week later, I received an email from him and he's like, oh my God, I gave back 30% of my profits. And he was very disappointed. And then we had to look at how does this actually happen? And so the way that he started to self-sabotage was by simply setting him a daily performance goal. Interesting.
All right, in fact, well, let's talk through the self-sabotaging habits then of traders.
Yes, it's always the same, Andrew. We always do the same thing. We start having a goal, and because we can see the potential that we have and we see a bright future. But then when we don't get that profit or we give some profits back, what do traders do? They start overtrading. And what we saw in his metrics was that he went from an average of 5 trades that he had on the day when he was doing well to over 10. And one day he even had more than 20. But his strategy is such that it only gives 5 trades or good entries on average. He couldn't even perform even if he wanted to. And then, of course, as a result of that, he started oversizing, trying to make the money back. Exactly what Rory McIlroy would do. So, when he was a Rory coaster. And what happened was he went from the controlled, system-driven trader to chasing the markets. And we call it the spiral of failure, overtrading, oversizing, and then the chasing.
All right, so let's return to the Rory McIlroy example then and how he overcame that consistency problem.
Yeah, when we look at where Rory came from and where he is today, that's why I always say, every successful trader or golfer in this case has a dark past, and every struggling trader or golfer can have a bright future. So he started working with a golfing coach, and his name is Bob Rotella. And they started looking at what was Rory's mindset that led him to this roller coaster behavior or Rory coaster behavior. And so he tended to surprise, surprise, focus too much on results. And then he was trying to force the golfing shots, right? He would maybe mess a swing up, and then he was trying to force it next time to swing even further to make up for it. And so his execution suffered, exactly like in trading, isn't it? And so they started creating a grounding mantra for him. Process over price, process over price, process over price. And that really helped him to stay present in the moment and not really worrying about the future. Then they knew that after he had a bad shot, he found it very hard to overcome frustration. So they gave him a little routine how to come from frustration back to focus. And he used a little walk between one golf hole to the next to really collect himself and start again with a fresh mind. And actually, that was something that Jim Loehr came up in tennis. Oh my God, in the 80s or 90s when he studied Steffi Graf and all the successful tennis players, because they did the same. They turned around, walked away from their mistakes, turned around again and took the next shot. And thirdly, what he did was he learned to be very patient and resisting the urge to force the trades, again, by saying to himself, I'm focusing just on the next swing. That's all I'm going to do.
All right, so how then does that apply to traders? What lessons do they need to heed?
Yeah, so exactly like Rory, the mindset mistakes are the same. So what happened with my trader was I looked at what was going on for this trader that he suddenly shifted to outcome focus. And his wife, she was very supportive his whole time. He was trying to become a successful full-time trader. And he was very grateful. And then when he started being successful, he wanted to make it back, wanted to give it back to her, give her a great lifestyle. And that was when he started abandoning himself. So every time we start focusing on what we can do for other people, we shift the focus to the end result. It's just a mindset thing. So the same was for Rory. So it's really the moment you find yourself focusing on the future, get back to my next trade. What is my process? What is my process? It sounds so simple, Andrew, but it takes a lot of practice. So it's a grounding mantra. And that second mindset shift that we created for him was his wife was cool and she was happy to support him. He didn't need to prove anything to her. And all he needed to do was focusing on his job, taking the trades and resisting the urge to try harder. And so, that's why forcing profits instead of letting the edge play out, we turned that around, focusing on the edge that he had.
Yep. Well, it is patience and practice makes perfect. Mandi, thanks for joining us from Training Psychology.
Thank you so much, Andrew. Bye.
And that is The Trade.